And man eventually came to recognize the sun as the representation of the power and the ability of the hidden God of the universe, the invisible God of the universe, the all-powerful creator of everything. But man, as he gained his intellectual ability, began to look toward himself, toward the intellect as that God, and the sun, the representation of what used to be the invisible God of the universe, then became the representation of the intellect, the light, Lucifer. And man began to worship the Luciferian philosophy. He believed, these people who call themselves the guardians of the secrets of the ages, and still believe, that man was held prisoner in the Garden of Eden by an unjust, vindictive, and very cruel God, the God of the Bible, and that he was set free from the bonds of ignorance through the gift of intellect given to him by Lucifer through his agent Satan. Now, many people believe that Lucifer and Satan are the same individual entity, and they may be. I don't know the answer to that. I just know what the mystery schools believe, and I know what I personally believe, and what I personally believe doesn't have any bearing on anything. Knowledge, the truth, is what counts, and that's what we're trying to get to the bottom of here. Now, eventually, this philosophy of worshiping the intellect, or wisdom, or the mind, became known as Gnosticism.
Life is a continuous confrontation with forks in the road. One is good, one is bad. And you could always wander completely off the road altogether and become lost, totally and completely lost. If you take the wrong fork at one of these junctions, there is always the opportunity at the next fork to get back on track. But it is a constant battle within ourselves. You see, I have studied this concept for many, many years, and I have to tell you that if there is a real devil, like Flip Wilson used to say, the devil made me do it. Now, I'm not telling you that there's no such thing as Satan or Lucifer. I'm telling you this. If there really is a devil, that devil exists in the hearts and minds of men and nowhere else. Nowhere else. For if you take man out of the equation, evil ceases to exist, and there is left only the laws of the universe and the balance of nature. Put man in the equation, and before long, evil will rear its ugly head and present itself to the world. The evil is within man, and that is why it was called the fall. The devil never made anyone do it. If you do it, you did it yourself because you fell into temptation. Isn't it amazing? How when all of it is placed in perspective, it's so much easier to understand. You will either go away from tonight's broadcast with a greater understanding of an awful lot, or you will become so incensed and so angry because I have identified some of the very traits in you which you tend to deny and cannot and will not confront. And you will set out to prove me wrong, and in doing so, you will see that I am right, and you will become an ally, eventually, when you have learned to deal with your own sheepleness. For until man once again confronts the real nature of his own condition and of the world around him and accepts full responsibility for his actions without blaming anyone else or any devil, until then, we will always be a puppet on the end of someone else's string. And ladies and gentlemen, when that someone pulls that string, we will dance. I hope you understand it takes a great deal of love for America and for Americans to tell you this. Good night, and God bless you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know there really is a Satan, a Lucifer, but he's not out there running around in the woods somewhere, and he doesn't sit up there on some planet looking down at us, and he doesn't fly around in the air. He's real. And I can tell you where he can be found all the time, every day. You see, you take human beings out of the picture, there is no Satan, there is no Lucifer, there is no evil. There's just the perfect machinations and workings of nature. The natural laws prevail. But you put one human being in the picture, and he will bring Satan with him. Put one woman in the picture, she will bring Satan with her. For Satan exists in the human heart and in nowhere else. That's where you will find him all the time, every time. If you want to get rid of Satan, you have to get rid of humanity.
If you're a Christian, you know that the great deceiver, the great liar, the great manipulator is called Satan. If you want to know where Satan resides, if you want to know who he is, look around and see who is telling you all the lies. It's as simple as that. Who's lying to you, entrapping you, deceiving you, manipulating you, entrapping you, wrapping the coils of the serpent around you?
I believe Art Bell has a lot of people on that are possessed. I believe Sean David Morton is possessed. After we had our discussion about Art Bell the other night, I looked at your site, what you said about Art Bell. I saw the logo. I know he has a lot of very satanic, occultic. I mean, let's face it, what is occultic is satanic. Do you agree?
No, that's not true. Occult simply means hidden, concealed.
Right.
The word occult has no other meaning except concealed. If you conceal something from your wife, you are engaging in an occult practice, and that's the truth.
Okay, but in the reference or inference to the occult worship of spirit beings, such as whether it be Baal, like the Baal logo, Baal, the eye over Horus, whether it be Horus, we recognize that is always leads to Lucifer. Do you agree to that?
They believe in the Luciferian philosophy, not in Lucifer. You have to understand now that you're getting into this and you haven't studied it like I have. They do not believe in God. They do not believe in the devil. They do not believe in Lucifer. These are all metaphors. They believe that man is God. Through the use of his intellect, he will conquer life, the universe, and be able to live forever and do anything. That's what they believe. They are secular humanists, and that is their religion.
Well, in so many of their writings, they make contact with, I mean, if you heard...
No, you're reading an esoteric text, and you're interpreting it in a literal interpretation, and you cannot do that. You don't understand the language.
So you believe there is no beings? There are no...
That's not what I said. I said this is what they believe. It doesn't matter what I believe. It matters what they believe, because whatever they believe will affect us. You understand that?
I sure do. What they believe affects us because they are pushing forth their agenda.
Yes, and they have the power to do it. They are in the places of power.
I'm just trying to fill in a gap here. I know so much of, I understand so much of what you always say. I'm just trying to fill in a gap here for my own consumption.
Reading an esoteric text without understanding the language and interpreting it literally is like going to Greece and never having learned the Greek language and thinking that you know what two people are saying when they're having a conversation in Greek. I'm telling you, you don't.
Well, the text I place above all is the Bible, and the God I place above all is Jesus, in whom the Holy Spirit will be given in those that believe, and will give them spiritual discernment. My question for you, Bill, are there demons roaming the earth right now, and Satan seeking whom he may devour? Are there spirits in which we must battle, a battle which is not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and rulers, spiritual wickedness in high places, and rulers in darkness?
Let me put it in a way that everybody listening will understand it. I believe that the battle we are engaged in is the ages-old battle between those who believe in God and those who do not. It is a spiritual battle for the soul of the human being.
Okay, I'm sorry about that ringer.
That's all right.
Okay, so are there any demons roaming the earth or any spirits roaming the earth now, in your opinion?
I have no idea. I've never seen one.
Well, okay.
I believe that there...
If you saw one, your opinion may change then drastically.
It could, yes.
Or if you felt one, your opinion may change drastically. Well, what do you do with people like Bill Schneblin and say Doc Marquis and so many of these people that have come out of the occult, high-ranking, well, you know, they achieved high ranks in Luciferian worship.
They say.
So you
they
challenge
say.
You don't miss a beat. You get around to challenging everybody, and that's
I have to challenge everybody because you must, at some point in your life, learn to think, or you are doomed.
Well, you know.
They say. I can tell you from my study of the Illuminati, they do not and have not ever worshipped Lucifer. They worship the light. Lucifer, the metaphor. The fire. And it all is a metaphor for intelligence, the mind of man. That's what they worship.
Bill, this has been very, I hate to say the word enlightening, but...
That's why they're called the philosophers of fire.
I see a unity in all of that. I see such a unity.
You're damn right.
There's how can these men be that united unless there was a spiritual glue, if you would, a spiritual adhesive that holds this whole mishmash together. There is a discipline.
No. You're asking to understand in a couple of minutes on a phone conversation what it took me 26 years to learn, and I'm going to tell you can't do that. You have study ahead of you.
Bill, I have been attacked by demons, and I have defeated them in the name of Jesus Christ. They have left me alone. They were on top of me, holding me down, and I could not move nothing but my head.
I don't know anything about that. I can tell you this, I cannot accept your word of it, except that that's what you're telling me is your experience. Neither am I saying that you're lying to me. What I'm telling you is it's never happened to me. Right. There is no scientific evidence of it. I cannot validate what you're saying. And if that's what you want me to do, I cannot do it and will not do it.
Each man in his own experience must, come to what it is he's supposed to understand. Well, look, you've enlightened me a great deal in my life, and since I've come across you since 1995, and I am grateful. What you have done is started that fire in a lot of people that got them to thinking, looking, doing their homework.
Now, see, a lot of people out there who don't know that we just discussed the meaning of fire think that you're talking about striking a match and lighting some paper, and you're not, and that's exactly...
That's right.
You see, right. They're doing with what you just said, with what you do when you read the esoteric texts of the mysteries.
Well, I basically have just confined my study mostly to the Bible, and with that...
Can't do that. If you don't study your enemy, you can't fight the battle. You don't know who he is, what he believes in, where he is, what weapons he uses, or anything else. You're lost on the battlefield. You don't even know where the fighting is at.
But, Bill, you're talking to a man that has battled two demons. Well, I personally battled two.
I'm not talking about battling demons. I'm talking about battling in this world for the freedom of mankind. I'm talking about for the future lives of your children. I'm talking about doing the right thing, rooting out and discovering and destroying the evil in man's machinations that would enslave humanity. They believe in a pantheistic order of the universe, where everything is connected and everything is God. And since man is the only creature that can think and reason, the collective mind of man is the mind of God. Ergo, man is God. That's what they believe. That is the Luciferian philosophy. They do not believe in a devil. They do not believe in Satan. And they believe that Lucifer or the metaphor for Lucifer, which is the development of the mind of man, is the real hero in all of this.